Good Lord Thaddeus Cray. Bear with me, yeah. Kind of dealing with cigarillos for right now, at least until I get the chance to go to the store and get some more cigars, which will be probably Tuesday. So you might be seeing me with these things for a while. Hey, they get the job done. Moving on. This one's going to be a pretty fun one. It's going to be about the Wendigo, or Windigo, however the hell you pronounce it. What exactly is this very interesting horror, I should say? I'll tell you what it is. It is a monster that represents greed, gluttony, hunger, lust. Now you have to understand something about lust. It's not always lust of the flesh. You also have lust of the eye, which of course is what you see, you want it, that kind of thing. These things are all kind of connected to each other. It's a very primal entity. Many Native American cultures, mainly in Canada, Alaska, things like that. I'm not sure, I believe it may be, I know for a fact that the Blackfoot possibly may have their own version too. This thing is, what is it? Well, simply, like I said, it's a entity that is based off a spirit of hunger and gluttony and a desire to possess. It originally came during, definitely before known modern times. Of course, a lot of the natives out there who lived up north, the winters up there are dreadful. Hell, it's almost always pretty chilly anyway. But you have to understand that when you'd have a bad winter, people, of course, would be trapped in their homes. And if you didn't stock properly, or you had a poor harvest in the summer or spring, whatever, or the fall, these type of seasons, if they yielded poor results in the winter, you're shut in your own place. You have no access to food. And of course, all you have in front of you is your family members, whoever it might be, parents, spouse, children, or some other relative that you're trapped in this home with. You're not going anywhere for months, most likely, due to the weather being so bad. And you're short on supplies, and of course, you're hungry. What would this lead to? Well, what it would lead to is cannibalism. Pretty much, the individual would pretty much go insane, and they would kill their family members or whoever was stuck in the home with them, and they would eat them. Now, of course, this is a real problem, and many times the tribes would warn against this kind of thing, saying, hey, you have an evil spirit in you if you do this. And I believe there's definitely some fact to that. I know a few people who have different theories on the Windigo, and this is just, I'm just putting out a little bit of the normal known lore and history about these things. Of course, there have been many depictions of the Windigo. Like I said, supposedly it is a being, man or a woman that once had been human, but this possession made them into something that was pretty dreadful. Basically, imagine a deer-headed monster that is emaciated, completely hungry, always hungry, possibly growing as it ages, getting stronger, much more dangerous than you can imagine, because it wants to eat you, and everyone you love, and then eat you, and then everyone you love again, if it could. If you get my drift, it's horrible, but there you go. So anyway, this thing would keep growing, and the thing is, it's still hungry. There is no filling it. It is completely always hungry. Supposedly these things have supernatural abilities. Of course, being able to take a lot of damage, voice mimicry, of course, being big, ugly, and having claws and teeth. That pretty much would make short work of anybody, if you get my drift. These creatures seem almost sympathetic in their own right. You have to understand something. If I was locked up like that, unable to get food or water or anything, I'd probably go insane. No mistake. I think anyone would. But my point is, when I say sympathetic, I think a lot of these people do not have any control over becoming these creatures, if this is the case. I'm just saying, it's pretty frightening. Don't get me wrong. You would have to definitely deal with something like this, because, of course, it wants to kill you and eat you. There ain't nothing else to say about that. But here's something to really think about. You have to understand, I'm going to tell you something which I found out long before I was doing what I do now. Long before. I was young when I found this out. It's very interesting. They actually had hunters that would track down these things and kill them. That's right, hunters. I mean, I'm not almost like Sam and Winchester. What do you call it? Sam and Dean Winchester from Supernatural, that kind of material, you know? It's crazy stuff, man. Crazy. There was actually a dude that was, if I remember right, it was in the early 1900s. He was, they busted him and put him in prison, locked his ass up, may even executed him. He was an indigenous individual, I think from up north in Canada. I could be wrong on this. But supposedly he had killed someone claiming that, I think it was him and his son, that was supposedly possessed by the spirit of one of these things. That's crazy stuff, man, I'm telling you. Do I believe such a creature like this exists? Yeah, I do. Do I necessarily think it's truly the lore that, you know, is an entity that's a spirit of hunger and gluttony and rage? I don't know. I know a couple of guys that have different theories on that, and I can respect it. So like I said, I'm no expert. I don't know. I'm just a guy basically trying to do a video information about these things. I'm telling you, these things are terrifying. They are something else. And also descriptions of these things vary. It's not just, you know, the deer-headed monster. There's actually a type of Sasquatch-type creature that's, I think the name is Wendigo, but it's a different type of being. It's almost like similar to the Genasqua. I'm going to probably do a video on that another time. But I'm just saying, the idea of your own vices definitely not becoming your virtues and overtaking you, that right there is scary stuff, but it's fascinating. This video I've actually enjoyed making. I mean, normally I don't deal with a lot of, when it comes to cryptids, I try to avoid a lot of the more demonic stuff. But this is kind of something that's definitely probably that, but also comprises more of a human desperation and the darkness inside of all of us, if you get my drift. I just kind of wanted to put that out there. You guys know what I do. I'm the producer for the Dark Waters family. If you've had a cryptid sighting, experience, encounter, or even want to tell me really anything along those lines, or a supernatural encounter, sometimes I don't even get the chance to share them. You know, I mean, you don't have to do that. You can just tell me about it. And I can easily have someone narrate your story. I mean, that's just fact. I mean, I enjoy doing this stuff. It doesn't have to be a cryptid. It could also be a supernatural experience. Whatever it is. You know, if you desire to share your story in front of people who understand and get it, and they won't mock you or give you a lot of hell like so many other individuals out there would, hit me up. My name, as you guys know, is Wes Vick, and that email is wesvick@dogmancams.com, WESVSEK, @dogmancams.com. You guys be blessed and you be safe.